Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome to this post-election webinar. Uh, I'm glad to share that we have with us our founder Manish Goel. We are live on YouTube as we speak. The Obviously the idea is to discuss the market setup post elections. So दिस इज फॉर पीपल जो हमारे साथ जुड़े थे 25 मई को हमने लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग की थी कि क्या क्या सिनेरियोज डेवलप हो सकते हैं पोस्ट इलेक्शंस एंड हमने 3 सिनेरियोज डिस्कस किए थे बहुत सिंपलिस्टिकली हम उतने 5 6 7 सिनेरियोज में नहीं गए थे वी हैड सिंपली शेयर्ड 3 सिनेरियोज एंड व्हाट हैज कम आउट इज दिस द मिडिल वन राइट बहुत सिंपलिस्टिकली हमने 3 सिनेरियो प्रेजेंट किए थे और हमने बताया भी था ब्रॉडली कि क्या क्या हो सकता है मार्केट डायरेक्शन क्या लेगा रिफॉर्म्स में क्या होगा वगैरह वगैरह तो इसमें हमने बताया भी था बहुत क्लियरली कि इमीडिएट एक नीजक रिएक्शन आएगा मार्केट साइडवेज स्ट्रोक कंसोलिडेशन मोड में रहेगा फॉर अ फ्यू डेज एंड देन इट विल मूव ऑन टू इट्स अपवर्ड जर्नी सो एंड ब्रॉडली वो वही उसी डायरेक्शन में आया 292 सीट्स के आसपास सो इसी सिचुएशन को आगे डिस्कस करते हैं तो between yesterday and today what has been the media headlines and what have been the clients concerns to put it up front बहुत सारे आ रहे हैं मतलब ये since yesterday single largest party को 272 सीट्स नहीं मिली therefore weak coalition होगा एंड उसको लोग कह रहे हैं कि कोalition led पॉलिटिक्स अब खेली जाएगी या इंडिया को देखने को मिलेगा आफ्टर 10 years मे बी हमारा हम वी वर स्पॉइल्ड फॉर स्पॉइल्ड कि हम 10 साल इट वाज वी वर लेड बाय अ सिंगल पार्टी मेजोरिटी इन दैट सेंस मे बी इट इज दिस थिंग बट उससे पहले भी मनीष बताएंगे कि हम बहुत पीछे तक गए हैं 25-30 साल का हमने स्लाइस एंड डाइस कर लिया और हम लोग कोalition लेड पॉलिटिक्स ही हमारी कंट्री में हुई है फिर भी हम लोग बहुत आगे आगे वी हैव ग्रोन मल्टीफोल्ड रिफॉर्म्स में टेक अ बैक सीट नॉट नेसेसरली विल डिस्कस फोकस है रूरल पॉपुलिस्ट मेजर्स पे होगा इंफ्रा केपेक्स पे कम होगा नॉट नेसेसरली ट्रू वील अगेन डीप डाइव डिफेंस पीएसयू रेलवेज की डी रेटिंग हो सकती है एंड एक बहुत बड़ा पॉइंट है कि एफआई जो शायद साइड में बैठे हुए थे वेट कर रहे थे कि एक वेरी सॉलिड रिफॉर्मिस्ट स्ट्रोक बहुत ही वाइडर मैंडेट वाली गवर्नमेंट आएगी तो हम अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स मल्टीफोल्ड फिर से बढ़ा देंगे उस पर थोड़ा सा रिस्क आ गया कि क्या वो उतना एक्साइटमेंट से वापस आएंगे कि नहीं अगेन उस पर हम थोड़ा सा डीप डाइव करेंगे 3 जून को पीपल वर वेरी एक्साइटेड बिकॉज सैटरडे शाम को 6:30-7 बजे जो रिजल्ट आए थे उसमें सब के सब एक्सेप्ट आई थिंक वन ओनली दैनिश भास्कर ने बताया कि ये मतलब ये तो एक फोरगॉन कंक्लूजन है कि ये तो सरकार बनी गई है टाइप्स राइट एंड देयरफॉर मार्केट गॉट वेरी एक्साइटेड 3 जून को 3% 3.1% निफ्टी अप एंड स्टॉक्स ऐसे 10 12 15% ऊपर थे जैसे रातों रात पता नहीं क्या हो गया हो राइट yesterday was a reality check it didn't nothing happened between third and fourth कल ऑब्वियसली वो सारे के सारे स्टॉक्स बिटवीन 10 15 20% गिरे नेट वो उतने ही गिरे विच इज स्लाइटली मोर देन व्हाट वाज द राइज डे बिफोर तो 3 जून को जितना चढ़े थे उससे थोड़ा और एक्स्ट्रा वो गिरे right? And this was again high beta real estate, metal, public sector enterprises, defense, railway, etc., etc. But EPS कहीं नहीं बदली है in companies की in the last 3 to 4 days. Sentiment ही बदला है, right? Sentiment इतना बदला है कि that's what has led to the turbulence between Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Turbulence इसलिए बोल रहे हैं because उसको volatility ही काफी देखने को मिली है. With that, I will hand over to Manish, and we will slice and dice historically what has happened in the Indian political setup and वो क्या पूरा दृश्य देता है and उसका conclusion क्या है over to you Manish.
Thank you, Jaspreet. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us whatever I said till now. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today afternoon. So, as Jaspreet shared, just to take it forward, there are three major concerns post-election results yesterday. First one is India derating, that Indian markets will get derated. This is the first major concern. Second one is about FII outflows, that instead of putting in more money, they will now take money out and there will be no new inflows. Third one is around bold reforms, so-called bold reforms. Now we don't have a single party government, so bold reforms will take a backseat. So these are the three major concerns. Now, with the help of some data points, we would like to share our view why these three concerns may not be as real. So why these three concerns are there? That we don't have a party who has got full majority. So now this is last 30 years or 20, more than 30 years actually, result of, elections were held in different years, starting with 1991. So before 1991, in 1984, was the last time when there was a party with full majority. In 1991, Congress got 244 seats, and with the help of UPA, they formed government. After that, 1996 and 1998, BJP was in power, including 1999 when they completed the term. But none of these three period, they were not in power with full majority. It was always a coalition government. Then Congress time, which is 2004 and 2009, again it was not a full majority for single party. It was a coalition government. And after that, only last two times, which is 2014 and 2019, when single party got majority. Now, what I'm trying to highlight here, if you see the last two columns, GDP CAGR and Sensex CAGR, whether it was single party in majority like 2014 and 2019, or you see earlier periods, GDP CAGR for this country, especially starting 1999, has been in the range of 8%, 9%, and this period of 2005 to 2008, it was even higher than 8%. Even Sensex CAGR, starting again 1998 or even after that 2004 and 2009, although it was a coalition government, but Sensex CAGR was 17% and 15%, and it was not much different for the period 2014 and 2019. So it is always in a way better for any economy that there is full majority or single party full majority. But what I'm saying, for a country like India, it has never been a case. Yes, after 2000, after 1947 independence, for so many years up until 1989, barring 1 or 2 years in between, it was a single party government for most part of those 42, 43 years. But then we know in 1990, we were, as a country, I'm saying, we were on the verge of bankruptcy. And economic reforms in this country started in 1991. So single party government for so many years didn't really help that much, right? We were on the verge of bankruptcy in 1990. And economic reforms started in 1991. And post 1991, as I said, for 23 years, country grew year on year. And there was not a single party government in so many years, 23 years. And when there was a single party government, or one party got full majority, as we can see, GDP CAGR and Sensex CAGR are not very much different. So hence I'm saying that we should not really be too much concerned about it, even if there will be a coalition government. And why? Again, we will go to the next slide and next one and explain it further. Now, let's go to the next one. So this one is about election results which were announced yesterday. As you can see on the right hand side, first just look at the vote share. BJP as a single party, last time in 2019, their vote share was 37.3%. This time it dropped to only 36.6%. So very, very small change, only 0.7%. Congress 19.4% improved to 21%, only 1.5% extra. Only 1.5% extra. Where they lost seats, just these 7 states. Majority of seats they lost in these 7 states. Against 222 wins in 2019, this time the tally was 133. So 89 seats they lost in these 7 states. And they made inroads in some new states, and names are there: Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, etc. Against 22, this time NDA, not BJP. NDA won 61 seats there, so 39 seats extra. What I'm trying to highlight here, कि we should not be really too concerned that government lost mandate, BJP lost mandate, etc., etc. Because for single party BJP, the vote share was more or less what it was in 2019. What made a difference? India Alliance, because in most cases, wherever, and you can see here, the Congress from 52, they moved up to 99, which is 47 seats extra, almost 100% seats extra, but with the help of only 1.5% extra vote share, only 1.5%. So it was not really a lost mandate for BJP. It was more about all the opposition parties coming together and consolidation. So opposition party vote share consolidation. It was more of that. What BJP can be happy about, and I'm sure they are being happy about it, that they could make inroads in some new states. Let's go to the next one. Now, this is the result now. So new mandate means government will listen more to allies. May not be the case, because as you can see here, BJP out of the majority number is 272. Out of 272 required number, they have got 240. And with the partners, they are at 292, right? 292. So they are in a very good situation. In fact, it's a little funny situation. And on a lighter note, I would like to share this. Since yesterday, whatever news flow and other statements, I have listened to, or some news also I have read, every party is really, really, really happy this time, including BJP. BJP is trying to prove that, India bloc, total 41 parties were there. Out of 41 parties, 20 parties won at least 1 or more seats. And we as a single party got more seats than those 41 or 20 parties. So how come, we have lost the game? We have not lost the game. BJP is trying to say this. Likewise, opposition is also equally happy. And most of the parties, except the only 3 parties are there, BSP and YSR Congress and BJD, Naveen Patnaik party. Except these 3 parties, whatever I have seen around news flow, various news flow, people talking this, that, every party this time is very, very happy. इस बार सब जीते हैं, गवर्नमेंट भी जीती है, अपोजिशन भी जीता है, नेशनल पार्टी भी जीती है, रीजनल पार्टी भी जीती है, सब जीते हैं, except these 3 names. Except these 3 names, मायावती, जगन मोहन रेड्डी and नवीन पटनायक. बाकी सब खुश हैं, including BJP. As I said, they are saying कि 40 parties put together, entire India bloc did not get as many seats, right? We have got more seats than all 40 parties put together, and out of 40, 41, as I said, 20 have got at least 1 or more seats. So problem was not really there. They have not lost the game, or they have not lost the election, as I shared on the previous slide. Against 37%, they got 36.6% this time. The problem was the narrative. कि 400 आएगा, 350 आएगा, अकेला 350 आएगा, BJP alone will get 370. वो narrative was a bigger problem, not really the end result. End result, as I said, it's not as bad. दूसरा, for any democratic nation, having a strong opposition is very important, or I would say it is good, for the nation. So this time, opposition with 250, 60, including if we include all others as well. So the tally is 250, 260. So in a way, it's good. Now government has to be, little more careful, little more consultative. उसमें कुछ इतनी बुराई नहीं है. And then we have elections in Maharashtra, election in so many states. So it is good that they will do certain things. Okay, there could be certain measures being taken to win some of these elections, and hence there's one more concern there this time ki capex will take back seat and more populist measures will be announced, etc., etc. But practically speaking ऐसा होता नहीं है, because 1991 till 2014, as I said, coalition government के time पे ही this country has achieved the maximum growth. Those 23 years and post that also, but those 23 years, the average growth rate for the country is 10 or between 10 and 11%. Average CAGR for markets is 13-14%. तो ऐसा होता नहीं है कि बिकॉज यू आर इन कोएलिशन तो आप सारे पॉपुलिस्ट मेजर लोगे, सारे कैपेक्स छोड़ दोगे, सारे रिफॉर्म छोड़ दोगे, ऐसा नहीं होता है. एंड विद 240 सीट्स तो बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं होता है, बिकॉज it's a matter of only 30 seats. So whoever is there as your partner, ठीक है, I mean, they have to also, act sensibly, right? Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is Equentis view. So as Jaspreet shared, EPS will not get it. I mean, it is just not possible कि कल election announce हुए हैं, result announce हुए हैं today, EPS derating or market derating will happen. ऐसा नहीं होता है. In any case, on FY25 basis, we are at 19.4 times, I believe. 19.4 times. And FY26, we are 18.1 times. I'll show you the chart, historical chart. So India has always been in the range of 18 times to 22 times. So if 1 year forward is more than 22 times, one needs to be little careful. And if 1 year forward is anything between 18-19 times, one can be sure about it. Ki koi baat. It's in the range, because in case of India, and I'll show you EPS CAGR. EPS CAGR is 13-14%, 15%. For last year, which is FY24, it was almost 20%. This year, FY25, it is likely to be 16-17%. So in case of India, if it is 16% EPS growth or 18% EPS growth, 19-20 times is fair, right? It's fair. It goes, 18 times to 17 times, it becomes a screaming buy. It goes above 20 to 23 times, one needs to be careful, as I said. So what derating का इतना concern की जरूरत नहीं है. And if, let's say, you are one of Equentis customer or you have been with us, then in any case, we are not heavily skewed towards Adani Group or defense or PSU. क्योंकि अगर थोड़ा concern derating का, I'm not saying any other concern, I'm not trying to highlight anything here. If there is any derating concern, it will be mainly to do with, as we have mentioned here, either defense or PSU or railway, etc. Because your rally, I think, was very sharp. तो उसमें से थोड़ा सा profit booking / some valuation rationalization could happen. But our portfolio is not certainly not heavily skewed towards any of these. Let's move to the next slide. Now this is very important and very, very important. Markets performance post result. So if you see after elections, now before elections is gone. Now let's look at after elections, starting 2004. After elections, 2004, market performed 9% and 16%. 2009, 36 and 39%. 2014, 18 and 16%. 2019 also, post 12 months, it was plus 15-16%, but because of COVID, this number is minus. So 20 years data we are showing here, and again repeating, out of 20 years, first two terms, which is 2004 and 2009, it was a coalition government and not as strong as this one with 240 seats, right? It's still market performed post 6 months and post 12 months, 16%, and in 2009, 39%, right? So one can be, little easy. Yeah, it's okay. Let's go to the next slide. At least data says so. This is what I was trying to highlight. In India, if GDP, EPS growth is as high as 17-18%, last year it was as high as 20%. This year, 16% with the 1133 EPS. Next year, likely to be 10-11% with 1250 EPS. So we are in between 19 times to 18-19 times or 19-20 times. We are there. And now we are in June. Post September, in any case, FY25 becomes irrelevant. Then market will focus on FY26. And FY26 with 1240, 1250 EPS, if you give it a multiple of 19-20 times, which India's historical multiple is, then the 24,000, 25,000 in a matter of 12 months from now becomes very, very realistic. So one more time, I am repeating, any fall in the market, considering all of this, considering all the data points that we shared, is it dips, buy on dips, right? Any fall in the market is a buy on dips, considering all the data points and valuation figures we shared. This is what I was talking about. 1 year forward P, look at the data starting 2001. And if you see the green one and the light blue, the second one, we have been between these two range, which is 18 times to 22 times. Most part of 20 years, we have been between 18 times and 22 times. The moment it goes higher than 22 times, in the current scenario, if I say if market, let's say tomorrow becomes 25,000 example, or next month become 25,000, then it could be slightly expensive, right? At 21,000, it will be certainly, very, very good buy. At the current level, it's a buy, and certainly a buy on dips. Now we have 4 focus areas which we promote, very extensively. And again, if you happen to be one of R&R subscriber, then I'm sure you know about those 4 focus areas. So first focus area talks about 6 financial diseases. In the interest of time, we are not talking about first focus area, but second focus area and third focus area are relevant for the current situation. And hence we have mentioned these 2 focus areas here. So second focus area talks about not all years are alike. Not all years are alike. We had put the data, but then removed it because it was becoming too much. So what we are trying to say here, India, at the cost of repeating it, India as a nation, growing at 12% or 11 to 12% year on year for so many years, right? Nifty CAGR or Nifty EPS CAGR growing at 12, 13, 14% again for so many years. So in a country like India, which is growing at 11, 12%, or Nifty CAGR and Nifty EPS CAGR has been 13, 14%, you as an investor, I'm saying you can't go wrong. As an investor, you can't go wrong. So in a country like India, if there is a fall like it was yesterday, 6% fall, or during the day it was even 8% fall, it becomes a buy, and successful investors take advantage of such situations. They definitely don't get worried about such situation because they know India is a structural growth story. In India, or for that matter, any country in the world, all years are not going to be alike. So if you are getting India at a cheaper valuation, if there is a fall in the market, they definitely take advantage. Definitely take advantage. The third focus area talks about in the short term, markets are driven by sentiment and liquidity, and in the long run by fundamentals. So what was prevailing yesterday? Sentiments, and if I may say liquidity. There was a sell-off, right? FIIs and DIIs put together sold shares worth about 15,000 crore or thereabout. So it was a sell-off. So in the short run, because of that sell-off or because of sentiments, markets went down. But in the long run, as we again experienced today, right, markets are driven by fundamentals, because since yesterday, एक ही दिन में most of the dust is already settled. सबको पता है कि 240 आ गई, very good. 30 seats की बात है, they have enough partners. Not for 30 seats, they have partners for 52 seats, right? Yesterday, Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, his full speech was with full of confidence. In any case, as I said on a lighter note, सब लोग खुश हैं. Every political party का, every leader except those 3, सब खुश हैं. कहीं कोई दुखी political leader since yesterday in any news channel or for that matter in newspaper, I have not come across except those 3. तो most of the dust एक ही दिन में settle हो चुकी है. उस बात को मार्केट समझ चुका है, एंड हेंस अगेन फंडामेंटल्स विल स्टार्ट प्रिवेलिंग. वही होता आया है. इसीलिए फोकस एरिया नंबर 3 के रिलेटेड ही this chart we have, or this data again one more time we are showing कि whenever there is a sharp fall, it recovers, and it recovers in no time. तो उसमें कोविड भी है, उसमें रशिया यूक्रेन क्राइसिस भी है, उसमें BJP got victory in 4 states, वो भी है. Anytime there is a fall in a country like India, it's an opportunity to buy. So Jaspreet will talk about the other 2 major concerns, as I said. First one, I believe I addressed about India de-rating. So there's no de-rating as such. I mean, not expected. Not expected. 1890 times is a fair valuation for a country like India. Second major concern was around board reforms with vaccine. Third major concern was around FII's outfit. So these 2 concerns he will now why these concerns may not be as real.
Yeah, hi. I'll continue with some of the major reforms that was there in the political manifesto of BJP earlier, and for some reason they may or may not happen, right? So सबसे पहले बात करते हैं. Let me put a disclaimer here. ये जितने भी reforms हैं हमने थोड़ा deep dive किया. It doesn't seem like कि इनका कोई financial अर्निंग्स इम्पैक्ट कुछ होगा, एंड दैट टू ऑन इमीडिएट बेसिस. थोड़ा बहुत होगा, बट ओवर अ लॉन्ग टर्म होगा या सेंटिमेंट इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा होगा, और इट डजंट इम्पैक्ट द कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया एज सच, राइट? कॉर्पोरेट इंडिया के अर्निंग्स पे इम्पैक्ट होगा तो ही या उनके पी पे इम्पैक्ट होगा तो ही मार्केट ऊपर नीचे होता है, राइट? इट डजंट सीम लाइक. सो लेट्स से सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट ज्यादा डीप डाइव नहीं कर रहे, सब कुछ है स्क्रीन पे आगे पीछे. यू कैन लुक एट इट ऑन यूट्यूब लेटर ऑन, रिकॉर्डिंग विल बी अवेलेबल. ये सबको पता है, राइट? इट इज इन द स्टेज. वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, ये बहुत ज्यादा चर्चा हो चुकी है. इसमें वैसे भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट का इन्वॉल्वमेंट आ जाएगा, बिकॉज सम पार्टीज विल नाउ गो टू द कोर्ट की ये पॉसिबल नहीं है, व्हाट दे मे हैव देयर व्यूज. यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड तो बहुत ही बड़ा डिसरप्शन आई वुड से, एंड इट विल बी वेरी वेरी कंटेस्टेड. अगेन डजंट इम्पैक्ट डे टू डे, इट इज जस्ट इंटर रिलीजन, दे आर ट्राइंग टू गेट ऑन द सेम पेज. लैंड रिफॉर्म्स, लैंड, लेबर, एग्री, ये बहुत बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं जिसमें स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है. दिस मे हैव अ इम्पैक्ट. एग्री रिफॉर्म्स हमने देखा है 2 साल पहले, ऑलमोस्ट एट द मिड ऑफ द कोविड, गवर्नमेंट ने ट्राई किया था, करने की कोशिश की, बट फार्मर्स की तरफ से इतना सो कॉल्ड प्रोटेस्ट हुआ था. दे हैड टू रोल इट बैक आफ्टर कपल ऑफ मंथ्स, एंड दैट टू उस समय की मेजोरिटी में. जब वो नहीं कर पाए तो अभी विद नाउ लेस 240 सीट्स अब वो कैसे करेंगे? तो एनीवेज, लार्जर पॉइंट, डजंट इम्पैक्ट the Nifty or the earnings or a portfolio level too much beyond the point. So one need not really get disturbed. This is the other point that Manish was highlighting कि FIs उनका कैसा रहेगा आगे जाके. तो पहले देख लेते हैं उनका रहा कैसा है in the last 3.5 years, right? 3.5 years, Jan 21 till date, the index has gone up 57%, and I'm sure mid and small caps have gone even better than that. उस दौरान FIs ने मिला के cumulative till date, they've only put 60,000 crores, 0.6 lakh crore, and the DIs have put like 12 times, almost 13 times that money, which is 7.6 lakh crore, right? Now you add up, so this is about 95% of the total flow between FIs and DIs. इतना हम ज्यादा DIs पे dependent है. तो incrementally also the market flow is more dependent on DIs, and increasingly also on retail HNI, and a little bit of money which is coming through the PMS stroke advisory route, where research and ranking, Equentis research and ranking is also present. A lot of advisors are now becoming very very important part of the ecosystem. Just like we are there right at the top. Moving on, yes, the FI holding has dropped to 12-year low, right? वो 16-17% पे होती थी. It moved up to 21%. So this is FIs की जो ओनरशिप है, let's say रुपीस करोड़ divided by India's market cap, $5 trillion plus minus couple of days back जो था, उसको आप करेंगे तो ये करीबन 16% आती है. Now again, if this is from this chart securities, and there are enough experts in the country who are saying that there is a very high reason, and वो high reason क्या हम अपनी last slide में बताएंगे, concluding slide, कि this should go up. ये नीचे और जा सकता है, maybe another 0.5%, but ultimately it has to go up, right? Over next 1, 2, 3 years, there is no reason FIs की continuously India को ignore करते रहें, right? क्योंकि Indian market, there are a variety of reasons. I'll go deeper into that, and this is the last and final slide before we open for questions. India is already number 5, both in terms of GDP, dollar trillion. Left side में 3.9, almost 4 trillion बोल सकते हैं. On the right hand side, the market cap wise, which is $5 trillion. right? So fifth largest nation, and in 2 years from now, maybe 2.5 years from now, somewhere in the middle of the current government, we already be a number three economy in the world, right? So उस समय अगेन जो मार्केट की डेप्थ है, ब्रेथ है, और ज्यादा इंप्रूव हो जाएगी. लिक्विडिटी है हमारा, राइट? नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक्स व्हिच आर गेटिंग, number of IPOs that are getting IPO'd in the market, नए स्टॉक्स जो आ रहे हैं. As we speak, there is new IPO which is hitting the market in the next couple of days. मतलब वो मोमेंटम ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो गया. कल इलेक्शन का रात को रिजल्ट है और आज ही एक IPO एक्टिविटी स्टार्ट हो गई है, राइट? सो things are moving on as fast as that. We can say that the government is stable and the reforms should be largely positive. So that's number 4 point. Geopolitically, हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा impacted नहीं है. And number 1 point, we still are in that 7-8% GDP growth rate plus minus. RBI also says 7% plus for the next financial year. So that 7-8% number, last year we were about 8.2 almost, F24. That's amongst the very high in terms of the top 100 nations or top 20-30 nations in the world. सब मिला के अगर देखेंगे, you put the entire package today, and as Manish explained, this has happened independent of which government has come. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर कांग्रेस आज भी चलती रहती या एनडीए बहुत पहले आ जाता तो हम फिफ्थ, मतलब ठीक है, हमें 2 साल आगे पीछे हम बस जरूर हो जाते हैं, हम 5 में तो पहुंचना ही पहुंचना है, राइट? वो पहुंच चुके हैं, राइट? एंड थर्ड पे भी हम पहुंच जाएंगे. इट जस्ट अ मैटर, हम 2 साल में पहुंचते हैं, 2.5 years में पहुंचेंगे या 3 साल में पहुंचेंगे. इट जस्ट अ मैटर ऑफ दो 6 months, 8 months, 1 year plus minus, because at the end of the day, it's a work happening at the ground level by corporates, by individuals. The taxes being paid directly and indirectly, which is leading to the progress of the nation, right? The government is only an enabler. They cannot do things beyond a point. So we will stop there. Yeah. And we'll take up questions from the chat. Let me just request Naveen to put in some questions for the poll. And we'll take up the first question. What is the primary concern for the stock market post election? This is just trying to get a pulse of the audience. Second question, which it is, economic policies थोड़ा सा mood को हिला सकती हैं. That's number 1. It's just coming on your screen in couple of seconds. रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस हो सकते हैं, टैक्स चेंजेस हो सकते हैं, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड इम्पैक्ट आ सकता है, मतलब उसके रिलेशंस पे. मार्केट वोलेटिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा हो सकती है. हमारा एवरेज 15-20 ऑन हाई साइड 25 वोलेटिलिटी इंडेक्स रहा है इंडिया विक्स. क्या वो एक नया बैंड बनाएगा? Inflation could go out of control, or there is some other reason. So that's the question, which is we're trying to understand from a poll. That's question number 2. What is your primary concern for the stock market post? Is it there? Yeah, it's just coming. I think it's going to be there in couple of. Okay, yeah, it's there. It's on the screen. I think it's on the right hand side. Yeah. So 4 options ही हैं. Okay. ठीक है, कंसर्न हमने कम कर दिया आपके लिए. इट्स वी मेड इजियर फॉर यू. ज्यादा कंसर्न नहीं रखने, ना हम कंसर्न है ना कोई है. 4 ही कंसर्न है. इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज पे इम्पैक्ट आ सकता है, टैक्स चेंजेस पे इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है, रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस हो सकते हैं, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड हमारे रिलेशंस पे इम्पैक्ट आ सकता है. तो व्हाट इज योर सेंस ऑन दिस? Second question that will now come on your screen will be, which sector you think will outperform post elections? Obviously, we are just again trying to get a pulse. Number 1 question, वो टेक्नोलॉजी होगी कि फार्मा होगा कि एनर्जी होगा, BFSI, FMCG, इंडस्ट्रियल. तो मे बी इसमें भी या FMCG को आप ऊपर ले लें. 5 होगा नवीन? 4. Okay, so yeah, do put FMCG if you can. Yeah, and remove energy. Yeah, technology, pharma, BFSI, and banking and FMCG. Yes. In the meantime, please अपने questions chat box में डालते रहिए. Next 15-20 minutes we will take up questions from the chat. That's a larger objective of this webinar. And yes, it's on the screen. So कौन से, and you already some of these sectors has already started to show green in the last. Just some statistics. So market has closed roughly around the same level as it was on Friday, and which is 22,500. Nifty की बात कर रहे हैं. But there are certain sectors which have taken a beating, which is public sector enterprises, PSU banks, energy, infrastructure, metals, कमोडिटीज, रियल एस्टेट, ये सब 2-4-5% गिरे हैं. वाइल जो बेनिफिट किए हैं, बेनिफिट मतलब उसके इंडेक्स ऊपर गया है, वो है एफएमसीजी, which is 6% up. The consumption index is 4% up. Auto pharma 3 and 4% up, and IT is 2% up. So it's just been tactical reallocations which have happened between Friday and Monday. Index वहीं का वहीं है. फ्राइडे का एंड एक्जैक्टली मतलब ठीक है 22,500 मोटा मोटा वो है. It's just been sector reallocations which have happened in the last 3 days. Anyways, we can move to the last question, which is how will you adjust your investment strategy post elections? Increase investments, decrease investments, or hold onto the current investments, or diversify? Or maybe instead of diversify, you can seek professional financial advice. Yeah, increase, decrease, hold, and seek professional advice. We will be taking up questions. Yes, defense sector पे भी बात करेंगे, PCO पे बात करेंगे. So a lot of questions on the chat, and some of them I will answer directly, kind of in a quick fire mode. Some of them we'll go, हम थोड़ा detail में बात करेंगे, and obviously some of them I'll shoot it to Manish to take his view as well. Diversify, remove, hold, and seek professional advice. Yeah. Post-election results, should we review the recommendations given? We'll do that, sir. हम वो करेंगे. Yeah, it's there on the screen. So let's just quickly get over with this, and then move to the questions on the chat box. How will you adjust your investment strategy post-elections? बढ़ाएंगे, increase करेंगे, decrease करेंगे? You will seek professional financial advice with advisors like Equentis RNR or many other advisors now. But do keep in mind that they are SEBI certified, SEBI registered, and they following all due procedures, because that's very important. Or lastly, diversify into other asset classes. 4 options. Maybe I will give 10 more seconds and then move on to the questions on the chat, live chat. Yeah, we can. Yeah, great. Okay, thank you. So the questions are around. I am happy member and happy to part of with this support guidance. How to okay, Bhargav Kodalia ji is asking how to put. He is a happy PMP member. How to put more money into the market? Should he average it out, or should he put it in lump sum? I think that's the. Let me just take the read out my question. Sorry. Yeah, the question is how to put incremental money into the market. Just put directly or average out the existing portfolio. Yeah, that's the question for you, Manish. Bhargav Kukadia is asking. Yeah, how to put incremental money. Should we choose more stocks or existing portfolio में ही डालें? And incrementally, the other part 2 is एक साथ डालें या stagger करें?
So ideally, one should not make a portfolio of more than 20-25 stocks, max 30 stocks, and it should be diversified between 6 to 8 sectors or 5 to 8 sectors. So as long as your current portfolio size is 25-30 stocks or anything between 20 to 30 stocks, and you are already diversified, as I said, between 5 to 8 sectors, then you can put in more money in this same set of stocks. Just follow the allocation. So one stock should not get more than 4 or 5 or maximum 6% allocation. So put it accordingly, that you are putting money, that after this new money inflow, allocation for one stock or allocation will not go beyond 5-6%, and allocation for one sector will not go beyond 25-30%. Max. Ideally, it should be in the range of 20%. For different sectors, obviously, you can give different allocation, and if you are with RNR, then we'll certainly guide you on that, how the allocation should be for different sectors. So this is the first part of the answer. The second part, you can definitely divide it into 4 or 5 tranches, since you already have an active portfolio, and you can add it monthly. So I'm not saying you stretch it over 2 years, but whatever your new money is, if it is readily available, then it can be divided into 4 parts and 25% each month can be added. Needless to say, don't judge it by near-term fluctuations / near-term fall or near-term rise in the market. So it could be this way that because you followed this strategy and let's say markets happen to move up by 5%, 10% over next 4 months, don't feel bad about it that I should have put in 100% on day one. This I'm saying how an investor should be doing it, because you don't know, I don't know how markets will react over next 4 months or 5 months. Hence, I'm saying this is a recommended strategy. If you really believe I have money readily available and I have my horizon, let's say 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and I don't really care whether market could go down by 2, 3, 5%, why should not I put in the entire thing today itself? One can do that too. You can do that too. But if I was you, I would put it, the way I said, I will divide it into 4 parts and 25% each month over 4 months. I'll add it, my new investable surplus to the market.
Okay. Okay. So pre-IPO, there are questions. Okay, so friends, pre-IPO, there is this thing that's available only for premium membership program. So talk about it in a YouTube forum. But happy. Please write to us or get in touch with our PMP counselors or customer service desk. They'll be happy to assist you there. Will there be a rejig post? The question is, one is effect on the PSU sector, the defense sector, and how do we rejig? So there will be rejig, but it will not be a panic rejig. Ki humne aaj hi, we start getting into the panic mode and start rejigging, because we never went overboard. So we would always have one defense, one railway, 2 PSUs, right? One industrial goods, one real estate, one cement, like that. It was never key, so this is what we call the momentum piece, right? The momentum piece never exceeded 25-30%, which is, what the case with some of the other portfolios in the market, which are like 50-60-70% in momentum and the last 30-40% in stable and special opportunity. We are fairly divided in terms of special opportunity, maybe 40%, structural growth 30%, and the last 30% with momentum 30-35%. इसलिए बहुत ज़्यादा change करने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा, but definitely now we'll have to keenly, sharply look at, our eyes will be on FMCG, pharma, IT, banking. Not that it was not earlier, पहले भी था, but अभी हमें थोड़ा और ज़्यादा we'll have to be watchful there. And because clearly the market has told us कि the जो excesses built हुए थे, not that we went overboard. हमने पिछले 6-8 मतलब 3 से 4 महीने में बहुत ज़्यादा defense and railway उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा exposure नहीं लिए. Whatever exposure we had taken was last calendar year. This calendar year हमने बहुत कम exposure लिया था, and उतना ही जो cream ऊपर गया था 25-30% वो पूरा का पूरा वापस आ गया है. So to that extent we are not impacted as such. There's flurry of questions. I'm just trying to read. And as I read, are we seeing any unicorns emerging from India? VVSN is asking. Yes, I mean, yeah, it should be there. As we speak, there are tons of companies which are now planning to go IPO. मतलब धीरे-धीरे आ जाएगा. Swiggy, I hear, is planning an IPO. Oyo, I'm hearing, is planning an IPO, and there are many such unicorns which are planning to go public. And obviously उधर से the public unicorns होंगे, अभी भी unicorns हैं, but those are privately held. There is a question which I'm tempted to ask. Niranjan K is asking, I'm tempted to ask Manish, what is the lowest level market could correct to? That's a question, Manish, in case you want to answer that. And obviously you can take certain assumptions. उन्होंने अभी इतना emotionally पूछा है, तो थोड़ा assumptions लेके मतलब एक क्या हो सकता है, अगर कुछ 2-4 चीजें ऐसी अच्छी नहीं गई तो इंडेक्स कहाँ पे आ सकता है, and what's a good level to buy then? Maybe he's trying to ask.
On a lighter note, your guess is as good as mine. This is on a lighter note. But if I have to again give you a data point, what I have already shared, 18 times, which is FY25 projected EPS is 1125 multiplied by 18 times. So it is about 20,000, 20,500 in that range. In my sense, it should not go below 20,500, or let's say 20,000 to 20,500 is the range. It should not go below that. If it goes, then it will become a, as I said a while back, screaming buy. Because for a country like India, GDP growth 11%, EPS likely to grow this year 16-17%. Inflows we have seen, we are definitely not dependent on FIIs inflows anymore. You know what data point just be shared in 4 years, 3.5 years, FIIs have put in only 60,000 crore, and they are at multi-year low. In fact, they should be now putting in more money. If you really ask me, what he also shared, that they can't ignore India anymore, right? At least we don't see any reason. Versus DI's inflows have been 7 lakh crore. So I don't see any reason why it should go below 18 times or 18 to 19 times is the range, right? We are at 19.8 times or 19.9 times. So there's hardly any upside to the extent of 2, 3, 4% or 5%, according to me. And every fall, which whether it is 2% or 4% or let's say 6%, will make it a more and more attractive buy. Because if I value it at 20 times and as early as September, October, market will start looking at FY26, which is 1240 or 1250 EPS, projected EPS, and I multiplied by 20, which every analyst would want to do it that way, and we do it that way. So 24,000 to 25,000 becomes the range for next 12 months. So if I'm getting it at 20,500 or 21,000, I would be very, very tempted to buy. In my opinion, it should not go below that.
Prashant R has confirmed, that he will be buying on dip. So thanks, Prashant, for kind of reciprocating and giving us the feedback that you got the message clearly. There's the questions around near-term view. So let me just give a sense of what are the upcoming events. So obviously, एक है common minimum program. As of now, speculation is that the government PM will take oath on Saturday, followed by next week, obviously, cabinet allocations, followed by common minimum program, and then the big day, which is somewhere in July early, which is the budget, and immediately followed by the result season start, right, which is for quarter. Back to basics, right? From 10th, maybe 12th July, it's again back to numbers. Not that अभी नहीं है, but वो फिर headlines बन जाएगी. Starting with whatever the tech majors, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech, and all the others follow, right? Back to basics in almost a month's time. In between ये सारे 3-4 events हैं. उसके बाद तब तक only for that time, I think जो insulated sectors हैं domestic, which is let's say FMCG. And a little bit of on the consumption side, and जो export stories हैं, चाहे वो pharma हो, IT हो, and also एक तरह से value play आप बोल सकते हैं, which is banking, because banking चला नहीं है, काफी struggle कर रहा है time से. Broadly Nifty bank की बात करें, NBFCs and select non-banks फिर भी चले, तो that piece will be in focus in terms of the areas where people will try to hide. Beyond that, I think post from July, everything will be back to basics, right? अब वो some extent defense, railway, industrial capex, infrastructure, real estate will take a little bit of beating on the P multiple, because P multiple already बहुत ज्यादा दे दिए गए थे. मतलब डिफेंस रेलवे को तो 50-60 P ऐसे हम दे रहे थे जैसे मतलब उनका ड्यू था. मतलब बहुत सालों से बहुत पहले मिलता था, बीच में थोड़ा गैप. इट वाज नेवर लाइक दैट. डिफेंस रेलवे प्राइवेट केपेक्स, all these companies never got a P beyond 30-40 times, right? It was really a struggle to justify. इसलिए उनको domestic cyclicals भी बोला जाता था. So we'll obviously do a little bit of rejig, but fundamental core earnings को ध्यान में रख के, and also looking at how the next 1 month's rate the flow is, as I said, on various things which I just mentioned. So broadly, okay. So around PSUs also, I think there's a lot of questions. Ki PSUs, yes, PSUs also, but the good part with PSUs was it was never going to astronomical levels in terms of the multiples. Price to book अगर बात करें तो it went to as low as 0.5. अभी वो 1.5 के आसपास आ गए प्राइस टू बुक, but it's never gone beyond a level which is like लगेगी यार ये तो बहुत ही महंगा हो गया, सेल, एब्सोल्यूट सेल है, वैसा नहीं था. Right, like large bank, large NBFCs अगर वो 6-7 प्राइस टू बुक जाती है तो लगता है बहुत महंगा हो गया. लार्ज प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक जाते हैं 4 to 4.5 P प्राइस टू बुक, लगता है बहुत महंगा हो गया. ये 1.5 के ऊपर गए नहीं थे, तो इसलिए बहुत ज्यादा ऑब्वियसली इंक्रीमेंटल बाइंग नहीं बनती थी, बट एब्सोल्यूट सेल्स नहीं थे. सो PSUs में फिर भी there is a fair amount of interest that will still continue, right? And we don't know, अभी suddenly एक वेव आएगी, एक वापस से after a month, and you don't know PSUs will be back in focus again. Randomly कोई भी PSUs नहीं देखने, randomly कोई भी defense नहीं, कोई भी railway नहीं, which is what was happening earlier. बहुत exuberance हो गया था, 200 करोड़ का ऑर्डर आता था और 2000 करोड़ से मार्केट कैप बढ़ जाता था. That kind of craziness, I think, will market will now not show anymore. Uh, China is becoming more attractive destinations for FIs to buy. I mean, China, India, both RV Patilji, both India and China will continue to be beneficiary, because at the end of the day we are part of that emerging market index, Asia and Asia ex Japan index. तो उसमें इंडिया को भी मौका मिलता है. What do we move? What should be our move for the negative performing stocks? Madhuri Jadhav, we'll be on top of that, Madhuri. So we will be coming to you on that regarding that. Let me just look at the bigger set of questions that would be there. I am not able to get if there are any larger set of questions. One second. Yeah, green energy and consumption pay. Yeah, green energy and consumption. Obviously, we are positive. Green energy will take some time to make a comeback, because obviously green energy के नाम पे भी काफी कुछ it was going random, and there's too much of excitement over there. Yeah, broadly around that. Let me just see, has the market bottomed out or in pain? Some more pain is left. Yeah, Manish answered this. Market, I mean, your guess is as good as ours. Broadly, but it doesn't look like that market should correct significantly. But in case it does, any number below 21,000 becomes an absolute screaming buy, which is also becoming मतलब buy on dips भी बोल सकते हैं. Let me just go back to Manish, and Ravish Soni ji is asking, can we help with international exposure? So maybe I'll just one more international exposure, international investments करनी चाहिए कि नहीं? Diversification के हिसाब से, and can we as an entity play a role there? Your thoughts, Manish?
Certainly you can. Now, to in India only, there are many funds providing you this option of investing internationally. But I don't know your portfolio size. So if your portfolio size is really large, then you should explore. You could explore. As I said, there are some companies, some funds who help you with international exposure. Personally speaking, we have not yet started any such service, or we don't offer any such service where we recommend investments in international markets, because our clients, what our belief is, as I explained a while back, that India is a structural growth story, and for so many years it will continue to grow at 11-12%. Expected to grow at 11-12%. And in India, 18-20% or 22%. Considering if markets deliver 13-14-15%, returns in this range are likely to happen. If you go international, how many options are there? When you say international, I'm sure you are referring to US. Apart from US, personally speaking, I don't know if people invest into many other countries, unless you make some real estate investment here and there. That's a different thing. But in US also, they are very, very specific pockets, and largely technology companies, where if you can time it well, right? When you can time it well, like Apple, if you had bought it 3 years back, 4 years back, some such example, then only you can make more money. Otherwise, at a CAGR level, whether you look Dow Jones or whether you look overall market performance, it has not been very impressive that buying going international, you can make 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% CAGR. It is not expected. Yes, if you can time it well and you have a view on a particular sector / particular company, and you have a large investable surplus, so this can be explored. And just out of excitement, if you want to do it, consider not excitement. Excitement may not be the right word, but let's say you want to have that exposure, so that you are trying to increase your knowledge, or you just want to take a feel how it works in other countries. Then there are funds available which help you with that kind of exposure. If it is just to understand how international markets work, and not to really make any large investments there, because just at the cost of repeating it, 20-25% in that range, considering we are likely to be 13-14% EPS growth economy, is possible in India. And more than this, personally, I don't know any other nation which can offer this kind of upside.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. There is a question around, how the next 6 months post formation of the new government look like. So, I discussed, budget earning season, government rolling out its, program, and obviously उसके बाद महाराष्ट्र और हरियाणा के इलेक्शंस हैं. तो उसके अराउंड गवर्नमेंट विल बी वॉचफुल इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि किस तरीके का मेजर्स लें, ताकि ग्राउंड लेवल पे इन केस उनको ऐसा फीडबैक मिलता है कि बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट है या जो भी इश्यूज हुए हैं, how to address that. To that extent, there could be situation that the it will not be a runaway market. When I say that a runaway market, what it means is last 1 year market Nifty was up 25, and this is pre till Friday. Nifty was up 25% 1 year. 6 months it was 15%. Mid caps was up some 60%, 50-60%, and small caps 70%. That kind of exuberance would definitely not there. उसमें मतलब this government with this mandate or any other mandate, because that happens once in a while. It'll be more rational, right? So please now get ready to have a compounding of 13-15% CAGR over the next 3 to 5 years, right? Let's get adapted and used to that kind of an environment, जिसमें mid and small caps थोड़ा सा तड़का लगा 5, 7, 10% additional दे सकते हैं, and so advisors like us, you can get an additional alpha of 5-10%. So put together, that should be the larger mandate, larger approach with which to approach the market. So next 6 months, I would say a little bit of sideways, and then maybe a post earning how it's looking like. Then it should play out, and it'll be more very stock specific now, and one will have to be very watchful. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक sector उठाया and you buy any stock and it's just giving out return just the way it was happening. Manish, there's a question on expectations of the next budget, given it's a coalition government now. Whatever उनके ऊपर जो रिस्ट्रिक्शन, मतलब जो पाबंदियां हैं, बोल लीजिए, क्योंकि अभी तक खुली छूट थी उनको, एक तरह से एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी थी 10 साल. तो अंडर द न्यू सेटअप, should the expectations of new budget be toned down versus what could have been earlier?
Last webinar also, I mentioned that budget used to be a major event in 1990 or around that time, whether they around those years, or they used to introduce many new policies, many new taxes, lot of changes in tax rate. A lot of action used to be there, right? If you can remember those 1990 wala, those 10 years, 15 years up until 2004, I would say. Last 20 years, if you see, and we presented that data, budget has been a non-event in most cases, because budget is nothing but your balance sheet reconciliation, right? How much you can afford to lose. Example, whether your fiscal deficit will be 3.5%, which is always expected. In our case, I'm saying, or whether it will go to the extent of, let's say, 5% or 5.5%. अब इस 2% में play करना होता है. Whether you give more money to capex, or whether you can afford to announce some schemes, let's say, some populist measures as we call it. But वो भी अब बहुत ज़्यादा room नहीं है, because अब everything is tracked very closely by national investors, international investors, so many rating agencies, so many other parties, and all of us have also become very intelligent, if I may say. तो वहां पे भी ना बहुत टाइट प्ले है कि अब डिफेंस को कितना दूं, कैपेक्स को कितना दूं, लेट्स से पॉपुलिस्ट मेजर्स के नाम पे, या किसी स्टेट को कितना दूं, बहुत टाइट चलना पड़ता है. तो उसके लिए पर्सनली आई वुड से कि ठीक है, देयर इज अ नैरेटिव दैट नाउ कैपेक्स विल take a back seat, this and that, but personally I don't think so, because luckily revenues have been, or government receipts have been very strong, much more than expected. So there is always a room available, right? RBI का जो 2 लाख करोड़ है उसकी वजह से further room available. So one should not worry too much about it. In any case, this is going to be first budget. ठीक है, coalition का है तो उसमें एक स्टेट को, दूसरे स्टेट को, election bound states को, 3-4 states are due for election this year, and where they have lost also, BJP has lost also this time, yesterday results. तो हो सकता है किसी स्टेट का थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा एलोकेशन हो जाए, but generally speaking, I don't think कि they will go back on their earlier strategy or earlier how they had done things. And certainly इस ईयर तो बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे, because वो एकदम से नैरेटिव ऐसा चला जाएगा, because जैसे कोalition गवर्नमेंट, तो लास्ट ईयर तो आप कैपेक्स पे थ्रस्ट था, लास्ट ईयर तो आप डिफेंस पे थ्रस्ट था, लास्ट ईयर तो आप फिस्कल डेफिसिट को एक प्रूडेंट लेवल पे लाने की बात करते थे, अब तो सब इधर उधर हो गया है. नाउ तो ये एलोकेटेड 2 लाख करोड़ 5 लाख करोड़ टू स्टेट्स और 3 स्टेट्स वेयर यू हैव नॉट वन. ऐसा कुछ नहीं करने वाले, ऐसा कुछ नहीं करने वाले. वो नैरेटिव तो बिल्कुल उनको पता है कि अगर कुछ भी ऐसा किया तो बहुत गलत नैरेटिव हो जाए। तो इसीलिए एज आई एम सेइंग, पहली बात तो टू समवन लाइक मी who's been closing markets for so many years very actively, and you can also go back and check the data, budget in any case in last 15-20 years एक नॉन इवेंट हो गया है। 1990 वाले टाइम पे जब मनमोहन सिंह आया करते थे वो, या सॉरी नरसिम्हा राव आया करते थे, वो बहुत अलग टाइम था, बहुत अलग टाइम था। बट अब वो पिछले 10-15-20 सालों में नॉन इवेंट हो गया, क्योंकि अब गवर्नमेंट को बैलेंस शीट का मैथ ही बिठाना होता है मोर देन एनीथिंग एल्स। वन मोर थिंग, नाउ दे आर नॉट रियली डिपेंडेंट ऑन बजट अनाउंसमेंट। सो अब यू नो हाउ इट हैज बिकम अगेन ओवर लास्ट 8-10-15 ईयर्स कि कोई भी मेजर अनाउंसमेंट के लिए बजट का वेट नहीं किया जाता। तो whenever it is you know it is to be announced, वो बजट के बाहर भी हो जाता है। तो इन एनी केस गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट रियली डिपेंडेंट ऑन बजट की ये एक पॉलिसी या एक टैक्स का रेट कम करना है, ज्यादा करना है, तो वी विल बी ऑन डिपेंडेंट की बजट में लेके आएंगे तो ही हो पाएगा, आउटसाइड बजट नहीं हो सकता। वैसा भी अब इन 10-15-20 सालों में तो नहीं होता है। तो इसीलिए डोंट बी टू कंसर्न अबाउट इट। जैसा इफआई में से 300 सीट अगर बीजेपी की आती वैसा बजट होता, मोर और लेस इट विल बी दैट वे ओनली। और इसमें वही सारा जो मैथ है विच इज फिस्कल मैथ, उसी को सही बिठाने की कोशिश की जाएगी। जो कैपेक्स को, डिफेंस को, बाकी इनिशिएटिव्स को, डिजिटल इंडिया को, स्मार्ट सिटीज को, जो जो जैसे जैसे एलोकेशन अदरवाइज दे वुड हैव गिवन, वो मोर और लेस वैसे वैसे दिए जाएंगे। इट विल नॉट बी टू डिफरेंट इन आवर ओपिनियन।
Yeah, so it's a question around who will be the next finance minister. I don't think there'll be too many changes there. At least home and finance, I think the ruling government may want to keep with its with them only. Baki ke obviously maybe depending on how their partnership is with the lives, but it doesn't seem to be any major change. And the lady is doing a great job. I think उन्होंने post COVID काफी अच्छा काम किया, including between the RBI and the government and FM. They've done a reasonably good job in terms of resurrecting the economy and bringing it back. तो बहुत ज्यादा चेंज होता नहीं लग नहीं रहा जो कोर पोर्टफोलियोज है. But anyways, that's there. On Manish, there's a question on the last question, which is around can there be any changes on the short-term, long-term capital gains around the budget time? What's your view? Short-term, long-term.
Again, one more time, I would say your guess is as good as mine. But looking at overall market scenario, market performance, and considering what they have received from government, and otherwise also what I said, government receipts, overall revenue has been very strong. I don't think any new taxes or long-term tax rate will be increased, or some short-term or other type of taxes will be introduced, especially for stock market or otherwise on investors like us. आई डोंट थिंक सो, बिकॉज वो 10-20 हजार करोड़ ही उससे आएगा। अगर आया भी, अगर कोई मैथ बैठ भी गया, तो इंक्रीमेंटल रेवेन्यू विल बी ओनली दैट मच। एंड गवर्नमेंट अगेन विल नॉट गिव ए रॉन्ग मैसेज कि 10,000 करोड़ के लिए या 20,000 करोड़ के लिए वो इस टाइम पे फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स को अनस्टेबल करें। ऑलराइट, there is a since yesterday I'm sure most of you have also received this WhatsApp which is doing rounds, that our home minister, our prime minister, our foreign finance minister went out and in public forum / with various news what do you say, media or various such forums where they speak publicly. They went out and said ki markets will do this, markets will do that, and after 4th June markets will just shoot up. So uske around jokingly 2 or 3 such videos are available where people are saying कि don't take advice from unregistered sources or non-registered investment advisors, don't take advice from them. तो वैसे वाले भी वीडियोस राउंड कर ही रहे हैं। नोट दैट कि इसलिए उनको जो उस टाइम पे फील हुआ होगा, उन्होंने बोला, बाद में रिजल्ट जैसे भी हो गए, जो भी हुआ, इट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग। बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से कि फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स को लेके व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू हाईलाइट कि गवर्नमेंट काफी केयरफुल है कि फाइनेंशियल मार्केट शुड डू वेल, एंड इसीलिए शायद इस तरीके के स्टेटमेंट्स बाय ऑल दीज पीपल आ भी गए थे। ठीक है, इट इज अवेलेबल इन पब्लिक डोमेन, वो सब न्यूज चैनल को दिए हुए उनके स्टेटमेंट / इंटरव्यूज हैं, तो इट इज अवेलेबल इन पब्लिक डोमेन। तो वो उस बात की वजह से भी थोड़े केयरफुल रहेंगे कि फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स में देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी इनस्टेबिलिटी, और जो इंक्रीमेंटल रेवेन्यू है वो भी 10-15-20 हजार करोड़ से ज्यादा का नहीं होता है। तो इन एनी केस इस टाइम पे गवर्नमेंट इतनी टाइट नहीं है कि टू अर्न 10,000 करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा और 20,000 करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा they will take any such measures जहाँ थोड़ा instability market में आए या financial markets या investors like us feel bad about it. ऐसा इतने tight नहीं है government.
Okay. Last, there is Ankush Markanji is asking. We were expecting inputs from you before the crash. Now we are in loss. So, sir, Ankush जी हमें भी नहीं पता है कि मार्केट फ्राइडे एंड वेडनेसडे के बीच में फ्लैट रहेगा, बट इन बिटवीन इतना कुछ हो जाएगा. बट ऐसे ऐसे इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं होता कि राइट यू जस्ट इन्वेस्ट विद अ 3-day पीरियड एंड देन स्टे एट अ लॉस. मार्केट फ्लैट, बट ये इंडिविजुअल सेक्टर्स अगर आपने बहुत ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रखा है, बट इट्स ओके. मतलब उसको 1 से 2 साल के हिसाब से व्यू कीजिए कि आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट की है. एंड ऑब्वियसली अगर आपने मतलब मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल दैट वी बियॉन्ड गिविंग पोर्टफोलियोज वी आल्सो इंश्योर that they follow the allocations, because ज्यादा गड़बड़ वही होती है जहां पे allocations ऊपर नीचे हो जाती हैं. हमने 4% बोला और उसको 10% कर दिया, और एक दूसरा जिसको हमने 5 किया बोला उसको 2 कर दिया, तो that's where the damage is. So just maintain the allocations. We are on top of the developments happening within the market, and we will come out with appropriate changes wherever required. And फिर अगर क्वेश्चन रह गया अनआंसर्ड, एंड ऑब्वियसली फॉर वेरियस रेगुलेटरी रीजंस हम इतना माइक्रो एनालिसिस नहीं कर पाएंगे. ऑल्सो लैक ऑफ टाइम, एंड दिस इज नॉट द फोरम एज वेल. We would definitely like to still answer the question. So feel free to write on the support email ID, which is there on the chat box, customer service desk, and somebody will definitely reply to you. Shubham Agarwal and all those people who have questions, which is little specific, and we'll always write to that ID, and we'll get back to you. आप पोस्ट इलेक्शन पोर्टफोलियो नहीं सर, ऐसा कोई स्पेशल पोर्टफोलियो नहीं है. मतलब हमारा पोर्टफोलियो वही है, प्री इलेक्शन पोस्ट इलेक्शन. It's like our meals and our sleep and our daily lives, right? We don't change it between last Friday and this. It's just another part of life. Same routine. Portfolio construction is done with a long-term mindset, and the approach is multi-cap. The approach is to ensure कि large, mid, and small cap सबका flavor रहे, multi sectors रहे, right? Companies where we can take a 3 to 5 year view, 1 to 3 year view, and less than 1 year view. उन सबका एक mixture रखते हैं, and we try and ensure that the allocations don't go beyond a certain number, 9-10% to be specific, and then or there is certain events happening, then we cut it down and do necessary changes. So that's broadly it. With that, let me just say thank you to all the people who have come, and hand over to Manish for the concluding remarks. Over to you, Manish.
Related to this question, what was asked, in last couple of days, 3 days to be precise, this week, market has been flat. And if I may say, without giving any number, our portfolios have also been very stable, or I would say, in line with market performance. So investors have not really lost money. So, people who have put, let's say, more exposure in a particular sector, example, let's say defense example, or PSU or railway, or, certain other sectors which may have taken some beating. वहीं पे बस आपका 2, 4, 5, 10%, 20%, let's say, portfolio का वो वाला part may have given you some losses, versus जो Jaspreet also mentioned, there are other sectors which have done well. तो यही हम बार-बार we try to educate investors कि look at it in totality. It should be a 5, 6, 7, 8 sectors portfolio, 25 stocks, and you can't be certainly defense heavy or capex heavy or PSU heavy. Needless to say, you can't be, let's say, auto heavy or IT heavy or banking heavy. तो वो एक सही balanced portfolio होगा या होना चाहिए, and this is what we promote all the time. तो in last 3 days, investors have not lost money. एक बहुत बड़ा event था, in 5 years, obviously, this event comes once, and 5 साल से पहले आना भी नहीं चाहिए. Again, on a lighter note, 5 साल बाद ही आना चाहिए इसके बाद. बहुत बड़ा इवेंट था, और फ्लैट निफ्टी है, इफ आई मे से फ्लैट पोर्टफोलियो है, मतलब इट हैज नॉट गॉन अप और इट हैज नॉट गॉन डाउन. So it's a very good situation to be in. Feel confident about it. And results also, personally, if I give you my personal opinion, not let's say Equentis opinion, my personal opinion, I'm saying this is a good result. I mean, where 250s or 240, 256 to one party, 292 to one group of parties, or one block, and let's say 230, 240 to the other block, it's a good result. इसको हिंदी में if I may say सत्ता का संतुलन वाला रिजल्ट है. अब सबको प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि भाई नेक्स्ट रिजल्ट के लिए इफ यू रियली वांट 350 देन डू समथिंग बेटर. अगर अभी 350 आ जाती तो आई डोंट नो, अभी जाती तो आ भी जाती हैं. अगेन आई एम नॉट गिविंग ए पॉलिटिकल स्टेटमेंट. आ जाती तो ठीक है, दैट वुड हैव बीन द रिजल्ट, बट वो थोड़ा एक तरफ थोड़ा स्क्यूड हो जाता. अब इसमें दोनों के पास ऑप्शन है कि नाउ डू समथिंग गुड और बेटर फॉर द नेशन, for all of us, as citizen of this country or investors of this country, and whoever does better gets the majority next time. As simple as that. तो ये सत्ता का संतुलन वाला रिजल्ट है, और इसमें सबसे अच्छी बात क्या है कि सब लोग खुश हैं, except those 3 political parties as I mentioned in the beginning, सब खुश हैं. तो आप भी एज ए सिटीजन, एज एन इन्वेस्टर खुश रहिए, क्योंकि कंट्री विल कंटिन्यू टू ग्रो, markets will continue to grow, and certainly if you are with RNA with the right approach and all the possible analysis that we do at our end, your portfolios, in all probability will continue to grow. So be happy about everything that is happening, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you mid-July post the budget.